Hey everyone, Eterna here. Last week I ranked my top 50 coasters and I've been wondering what my top drops would be. With that in mind, I created this list of the top 10 drops on the coasters I've ridden around the world. Coaster drops can range from short to tall to steep, and some even take you upside down. There's a lot of variety in coaster drops, so let's see what made it onto this list. Number 10. Steel Curtain at Kennywood. Steel Curtain opens this list with a one-of-a-kind unique drop, the Drachenfire Dive Drop. The Drachenfire Dive Drop starts off with a roll that inverts you before putting you through what's basically a dive loop. The name pays homage to Drachenfire, the defunct coaster originally built at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. Steel Curtain sends you down this one-of-a-kind drop from 220 feet, solidifying its spot in the top 10. Number 9. Yukon Striker at Canada's Wonderland. Yukon Striker is the world's tallest dive coaster, which means it's gotta have the biggest drop out of its family. Yukon Striker brings you up 223 feet and hangs you over the ledge for 4 seconds before plummeting you down a 245-foot drop straight into a tunnel. A drop this crazy only being at number 9 tells you just how crazy the rest of the list will get, with some of the best drops in the world. Number 8. King Dakar at Six Flags Great Adventure. Obviously, I couldn't make this list without including the current tallest drop in the world. King Dakar takes riders up 456 feet and plummets them down a twisting drop. There aren't many coasters out there that can compete with how it feels to ride King Dakar, and the drop is world class. Number 7. Maverick at Cedar Point. Maverick is different from a lot of coasters, in that it spends the entire ride throwing you around and feels like it's almost trying to eject you. The same goes for the drop. Following the launched lift, you get hit with a steep 95-degree beyond vertical drop. This drop is one of the craziest out there, and this thing absolutely whips you over that drop in the back row. Every time I go to Cedar Point, I make it a point to get on Maverick, and maybe even get that incredible back row ride if I can. Number 6. Abismo at Parque de Atracción de Madrid. If you thought Maverick had a crazy looking drop, this one is gonna blow your mind. Abismo takes you up a 90-degree lift before putting you upside down before the drop even starts. Much like Steel Curtain, Abismo brings in an inversion to the drop, but this one is a pretty insane twist, immediately followed by a just as insane drop. This crazy drop delivers Abismo just outside of the second half of the list at a solid number 6. Number 5. Takabisha at Fuji-Q Highland. King Dakar was included for it being the tallest, but what about the steepest? Well, second steepest. Takabisha holds second place for the steepest coaster contest, with first place being taken by a clone in New Jersey with a 0.5 degree steeper drop. Takabisha still takes this over the clone because of the beautiful setting and the smoother ride. Surrounded by mountains, Takabisha takes you up 141 feet up a 90-degree incline, and holds you at the top for a good few seconds, before you plummet down the drop with an angle of 121 degrees. This is an absolutely legendary drop, and it's very deserving of taking a spot in my top 5 drops. Number 4. Karnan at Hansa Park. Karnan, which has a full name I'm not even going to try pronouncing, is a ride full of surprises, but one of the star moments of this ride is that amazing 219-foot drop as the riders escape from the Karnan Tower. Going from the darkness of the tower to the outside light in just a few seconds, combined with a twisted drop, leaves the riders questioning what even happened. If there's one thing I'll never forget on a coaster, it's the excitement of going up the lift on this ride while the incredible soundtrack plays, filling up the entire tower. Number 3. Ride to Happiness. On number 3 we got Ride to Happiness. This ride may have a small drop, but Ride to Happiness takes advantage of everything it has to make the small drop worth this spot. Because of the spinning cars on Ride to Happiness, you can hit this drop in so many different ways, from facing forwards to sideways, or if you're lucky enough, facing backwards. When facing backwards in the back row, this drop is one of the craziest experiences you can get on any ride. Ride to Happiness lives up to its name as you're guaranteed happiness after this ride. Number 2. Skyrush at Hershey Park. Dropping in at number 2 is Skyrush at Hershey Park. I think if you've been on Skyrush, you know why this is here. Not only does it drop you from 200 feet with an angle of 85 degrees, which is almost straight down by the way, but it also has a weird moment in the drop where the ride vehicle almost feels like it jolts, and it really adds to the entire experience. For me, Skyrush is the crown jewel of Hershey Park, and of Pennsylvania coasters in general, but I haven't been on Wildcat's Revenge yet, so that may change. Honorable mention. Demon Drop. Demon Drop sits in the honorable mention box because not everybody considers these as coasters. I personally consider them as coasters because I don't see any real reason to not call them coasters as they fit all the criteria. Demon Drop makes you feel like you're in a trash compactor and you really get thrown around in that cage. If more people considered them as coasters, this would definitely be on this list. Number 1. Asianica at Fuji-Q Highland. This is without a doubt the craziest coaster of all time. I think people who watched my top 50 coasters video last week were expecting this to be somewhere here. Asianica takes you up 249 feet before facing you down and dropping you. That's right, you drop while facing down. From 249 feet. There is no crazier feeling than riding this coaster, and it's a drop that is very hard to top. This is one of 3 coasters of this type in the world, with the others being X2 at Six Flags Magic Mountain, and Dinoconda at China Dinosaurs Park. Both of these appear to deliver a similar experience, but I haven't had the chance to get on either of them yet, so I can't say for sure. Those are my top 10 drops in the world out of the coasters I've been on. You can see most of these rides get ranked against the best of the best in my top 50 coasters video that I dropped last week. Be sure to check that out if you want to see how the rides on this list did overall. Of course, this list will be changing over time as I get on more rides, so be sure to check back next year as I might do an updated list if it changes enough. With that, I'd like to thank you for sticking around to the end. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe, and maybe a comment too if you want to help boost this video in the algorithm. I have been Eterna. Peace.